Hey YouTube, ChannelMST here, bringing you a deck profile. We're going to be going over Heroes. This deck got top 16 at YCS Chicago last weekend. The only other hero deck that got into the top 32 only got to the top 32 and not to the top 16. So this is the highest place Heroes got in that tournament. So moving on to the deck list, we have 3 Veiler, 1 Bubbleman, 3 Neos, 1 Stratos, 1 Gores, 1 Honest, 2 Thunder King Ryo. For the spells, we have 1 Book, 1 Dark Hole, 2 Ecall, 2 Lance, 3 Gemini Spark, 1 Heavy, 3 Miracle Fusion, 1 Monster Reborn, 2 MST, 3 POD, 1 Rhoda, 2 Super Poly. Moving on to the traps, we have 1 Hero Blast, 3 Solemn, and 2 Torrents. Moving on to the side deck, we have the second Bubbleman, a Wild Heart, 2 Snowman Eaters, the third Thunder King, Mind Control, the third MST, Smashing Ground, the third Super Poly, 1 Warrior Turning Alive, 2 Fiendish Chain, 1 Mirror Force, and 2 Skill Drain. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 2 Zero, 1 Gaia, 1 Tornado, 2 Nova, 3 Shining, and then 1 Catastor, and then 2 Blade Armor Ninja, 2 Utopia, and 1 Utopia Ray. Moving on to the deck discussion, for the extra, most of this is pretty staple. The fusions are pretty stable, the synchros. The only thing I'm wondering is why he didn't run Scrap Dragon for Veiler with Gores, and mainly why he didn't run Roach as one of his Exceeds because of the Dragon matchup. But other than that, the extra deck seems pretty good. Moving on to the side deck. Very interesting side deck. We have 2 Skill Drains and 2 Fiendish Chain for monster negation for stuff like Insectors, Wind-Ups, and so forth. Mirror Force and Smashing Ground for monster destruction. And then Warrior Turning Alive, which can combo easily with the Stratos to get out your elemental heroes. Especially if you put these 2 guys in, then you have 6 targets for Stratos. So that adds on for that, so then Warrior Turning Alive becomes a very viable option. The third Super Poly, this seems like it might be a little overkill. Not entirely sure how that worked for him, so yeah. And then 1 Mind Control for like the mirror, so you could use your opponent's Neos for Gemini Spark, Miracle Fusion, and then also could be used against other decks too if they're running a lot of 4 stars. And then the third Ryo for rabbits and dragons and samurais and wind-ups and pretty much a lot of stuff in the meta. 2 Snowman Eaters for the mirror and for rabbits, and then 1 Wild Heart. This card has gotten a little better since the exception priority has gotten removed, and with Torrent at 2. However, its attack is still a little low to the point where I would consider it, really good, just because it can't get over Centipede and it can't get over, some of the other cards, and it has to tie out with Wind-Up Shark and Wind-Up Zen Mighty instead of being able to just run over them. So that's kind of where he doesn't really meet the mark as in his attack, but he has gotten a lot better because of a lot of people are running more bottomless trap holes and torrentials at 2, so he combos there with your torrentials and then goes against your opponent's torrentials. So in that way, he has gotten a lot better. And then the second Bubbleman for extra speed. Moving on to the main deck, for the trap lineup, it's kind of low, especially considering the deck. However, it's kind of a plus that he doesn't run Starlight Road, because a lot of pro players will play around Starlight Road. So that's kind of a plus there. In addition, he does run 4 hand traps, so that kind of adds on to the surprise element. If he doesn't have any back row set, he still has traps ready. So it's kind of cool there. Moving on to the spells, this is pretty standard. The only thing that's not standard are the 2 Super Polys, the 2 MSTs, and the 2 Lance. For the 2 Super Polys, I could see this being good for Game 1 against the Mirror and for Dino Rabbit. However, against like Insectors and Dark World and others, like in 6 Samurai possibly, I don't see how this would be. It seems like it'd kind of be a dead draw, so I'm kind of wondering about those matchups, how those went. But yeah, other than that, it seems like it's a pretty good card for the Game 1 against the Mirror and against Dino Rabbit. 2 MST for extra spell and trap removal. Very good for chain ability and just for, basically spot removal of 1-on-1. And then 2 Lance. This is actually very interesting, and it's really cool that he ran this because it helps to protect your Shining, especially with a lot of people running bottomless now and Deep Prison being mained a lot more. This becomes a lot better because, it's usually they're going to try to do something like they're going to try to go MST, chain torrential, so that you'll miss the timing, or they'll try to bottomless, or they'll try to deep prison. And having a Lance to protect it is a really good surprise element that a lot of people wouldn't be expecting, and Shining is really hard to get over. So if you can protect it and then have it on the board and have them have to deal with it, that's really good in my opinion, and is really hard to deal with for your opponent. So I think 2 Lance in the deck is really good just for that, and then also for its other capabilities, being able to lower the attack during the damage step, and its other properties as well makes it a good card as well. But mainly, this is really good for protecting your Shining, so I think that's awesome there that he added those 2 in. And then for the monsters, pretty standard here. The Bubble Man is kind of the added-on hero. I think that's kind of an improvement because it gives you one more target to search out for Stratos, Ecol, Rhoda, so forth. And also it also helps you speed up to get into your XYZs a lot faster. In addition, it's something to bank on in case the duel isn't going so well, so it's good there. I'm kind of surprised it didn't run the Crusader of Edidon, or however you pronounce it, as an extra spark target. But other than that, I mean, it's a pretty good lineup. Also, the hand traps are kind of new, and it's really kind of good because Valor can easily put an opponent in an awkward situation, because if there were no back rows, they would probably make plays they wouldn't normally make if they knew their opponent ran Valor, and so it would easily put them in an awkward situation just because they're not expecting the Valor. So it's very good there. Also, a surprise Gores is actually really good in the meta, especially against Dino Rabbit. And that'll do it for the deck profile. ChannelMST signing off.